Okay, good morning, distinguished colleagues. My ogas are awaiting peers. So our facilitator this morning require a very little introduction, as he is not only a respected person by professional within the Lagos State Public Service, but also one of public service knowledge of stakeholders. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Babashola Akimola Egbe, Director Admin and HR, Lagos State Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations. Today's session has been specially designed to provide practical guidance on the public service rules and local government staff regulations, which remain critical area of assessment and public service leadership. We appreciate him for creating time to share his knowledge and experience with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ola Egbe. Mr. Ola Egbe, good morning, sir. Let me see your
Good
emojis in
morning,
welcome.
good morning, Jamin. Good morning, everyone here with me. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. They are all muted, so we can only hear you, sir. We can't respond back.
Okay. Yeah, I greet you all, my distinguished directors on this platform. This is a section of to me is a refresh. This section is a refresher one because the topic given to me is a topic that I believe all the directors here present knows much about. I'm only called upon to share my experience with you in the service. I'm only called upon to lead this section this morning to take you through the public service rules and local government regulations. I greet you all once again, my distinguished directors here present with me. Àdúrà mi ni pé wàhálà wa ò ní já sásán ní Lagos State Public Service ní agbára Ọlọ́run àbá débi tó lérè. Ibi gíga tí gbogbo wa dẹ̀ ń wò yẹn Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí a débẹ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run. Let me say emphatically that I am presently speaking to the intended Tutor General and Permanent Secretary on this platform. I'm speaking with Accountant General, intended Accountant General and Permanent Secretary presently this morning. I'm speaking with Permanent Secretaries of ministries and offices in the Lagos State Public Service. I'm also speaking with Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary this morning. I'm speaking with Auditor General of Lagos State Public Service this morning. And ní agbára Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ máa kọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni fún gbogbo wa. And before I will commence, I would like to, this is the topic you are already acquainted with. The topic given to me is what you are already acquainted with. Like I said, we just want to share our experience to refresh our memory on what we have already known before. And by God's grace, I believe we are going to do justice to the topic given to me. So, I don't want to emphasize too much on the learning objectives because I'm absolutely sure that at the end of this session, you, my participants, will be able to have a background knowledge of the public service rule. You'll be able to know the different types of appointments. We'll take you through the various ways of exiting the service. We'll be able to understand misconduct and identify types of misconduct and serious misconduct as stipulated in the public service rule. I will also take you through the sanction or punishment for misconduct. We shall talk about leave. We shall talk about different types of leave, and we shall also discuss emphatically on the local government regulations. Now, can I hear your voice, please, before I comment? Are we good to go? My distinguished directors, please
Go ahead,
unmute
sir.
yourself.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Now, let me start by saying that where there is no rule, there is no sin. Ìlú tí ò sí òfin kò ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ o. But for an effective and smooth running of any organization, be it public or private sectors, there must be established rules and regulations. And these established rules and regulations will give proper direction to the way people will be managed in any organization. And here in the public service, there are 4 fundamental instruments that can provide such directions. And the 4 instruments are, we have the public service rule, we have the financial regulations, we have schemes of service, we have instant circulars. And permit me to talk briefly on these 4 instruments. The first one, which is the public service rule, of course, which is the one we are going to emphasize on this morning. Public service rule deals with the conditions of service for the public officers in the public service. Everything we needed to know in service are embedded in the public service rule. Different ways you can come to the service, you'll find it there. Acting appointment is there. Different ways of exiting the service, you'll find it in the public service rule. Discipline, misconduct, serious misconduct, and examples of serious misconduct and sanctions to be imposed on any erring officers, they are clearly stated in the public service rule. Different types of leave you can enjoy are also there. Different types of leaves staff can enjoy in service, you'll find it in the public service rule. Method, medical treatment and procedures is in the public service rule. The prescribed examination for confirmation and promotion, you'll find it in the public service rule. So, just to mention a few, that is to show that public service rule is that rules that deals with the conditions of service for public officers in the public service. Now, financial regulations. Financial regulations deals with the ways and manners funds are being expended, funds are being administered. Owó bí owó ṣe ń wọlé bó ṣe ń jáde, everything is in the financial regulations. Different document that has to be completed or complete before money can be expended or administered is in the public service rule. And it's in the financial regulations. Different sources of funds. Is it pay as on earn? Is it withholding taxes? Is it federal allocation? Is it penalties? Is it fines? These are sources of government revenue. They are clearly stated in the financial regulations. And ways those revenue has been spent, have been expended, have been administered. Like it could be through capital expenditure or through recurrent expenditure. What are capital expenditures? Capital expenditures are those money spent for capital projects in the states, like building of bridges, construction of roads, building of hospitals, building of stadiums, and the like. While those recurrent expenditures are money slated for our remunerations, our salaries, and other running cost expenses, overhead cost expenses. So all these can be found in the financial regulation. Then the next one is the schemes of service. Schemes of service is that instrument that shows the career progression of public servants or career progression of public officers in the public service from the entry point to the terminal point. Schemes of service also shows the duties and responsibilities of every officer on every cadre or grade level. It shows the salary grade level of every public servant in every particular cadre. It shows method of entry the cadre and method of advancing beyond the cadre. All these can be found in the schemes of service. And let me also make it known to you that at the point of recruitment, it is your academic result, the academic qualification that will determine your placement in the public service. It is never done by an intuition. You know, at the entry point, there will be a PMB for recruitment. At that PMB, where officers' academic papers will be presented. And thereafter, based on the academic qualification presented, the officer will be placed. For someone, for example, for someone who is coming in with ordinary level, O level, will be placed if the result is maybe that officer has 3 credit or 2 credit or whatever and needed employment. That officer will be placed on grade level 3, which is clerical assistant, grade level 3. But for those who have 5, 6 credits, those officers will be placed on grade level 4. That will be their entry point. And the terminal point for that is grade level 7. That is CCO, Chief Clerical Officer, grade level 7. For someone that is coming with ordinary level, ordinary national diploma, OND, the entry point is grade level 6. And the terminal point is grade level 14. For an officer that is coming with HND, the entry point is formerly grade level 7, now grade level 8, and the terminal point is grade level 14. For an officer that is coming with BSc, the entry point is grade level 8, and the terminal point is grade level 17. So, what I'm saying in essence is, the placement is not done by intuition. It is clearly stated in the schemes of service. We are being guided by that instrument, schemes of service. And presently, we are using both year 2000 edition and the amended copy edition of year 2003 in the mainstream. Now, the next one, which is the instant circulars. Instant circulars are issued to introduce any policy, to review any existing policy, to clarify, to make clearer, to expatiate any existing policy to the public servant. And it is the purview of the Ministry of Establishment and Training to collate circulars from the beginning of a particular year to the end of a particular year and make it in form of book, establishment circulars. so that it will be a point of reference to refer when we are writing our submission, when we are even emphasizing on or review any policy or any reform, we refer to circulars. So that is those 4 instruments that provide directions to us in the public service. Now, let me also make it known that before January 1st, 2015, all the workers of government in Lagos State are regarded as civil servants. We are all called civil servants. That's what they call us. But as at January 1st, 2015, that nomenclature changed from civil servant to public servant. And the change in the nomenclature was also supported with the revised edition of the public service rules. So we are all public servants. Now, why the public service rule? Why do we have the rule at all? Why the change in the rule from civil service rule to public service rule? Number 1, to bring about effective and smooth running of government work. To bring about effective and smooth running of government work activities. Number 2, to ensure uniformity and fairness. 3, to ensure accountability, purity, and sanity. 4, to protect public officers from coercion and influence of politics. 5, to enhance the process of training and development. 6, the change in the nomenclature from civil service rule to public service rule is an attempt to make the rule applicable to other parastatals, commissions, and other agencies of government. 7, to conform with the changing local and global trend. And lastly, to accommodate the evolving reforms. You know, things are evolving. New things are coming up. And we needed a rule that will accommodate these evolving reforms, these global trends that are evolving. So that is why we are moving from civil service rule to public service rule. And that is even why we have rule in the service, which I said it is to bring about effective and efficient smooth running of government work. Now, let's move to the next slide. Now, let me also make it known to you that the civil service rule has 22 chapters. The civil service rule, the then civil service rule we were using, has 22 chapters. Now, the new public service rule we are using here in Lagos State has 18 chapters. 18 chapters. Chapter 1 is introduction. Chapter 2 is appointment and exit from service. Chapter 3 is acting appointment. Chapter 4 is discipline. Chapter 5 is salary and increment. It goes like that too. I don't want to label you about that. It goes like that to chapter 18. Now, for the purpose of this exam, let's emphasize on about 3 or 4 chapters of the public service rule. So let's talk about appointment and exit from service. Appointment and exit from service. Appointment into public service remains with the State Service Commission. Quote me, appointment into public service remains with the State Service Commission, meaning that all the State Service Commission has the power to appoint officers into the public service. All the 7 state statutory commissions has the power. What are the statutory state commission we have? We have Civil Service Commission. We have Health Service Commission. We have Local Government Service Commission. We have Judiciary Service Commission. We have House of Assembly Service Commission. We have Teaching Service Commission. And we have Audit Service Commission. These are the 7 statutory state service commission we have in Lagos State. And the appointment you are talking about, the forms of appointment into public service comes in 2 ways. Number one is through a letter written under the direction of the State Service Commission and any other agencies so empowered. That is number 1. And I believe me that I'm talking and the entire people listening to me online now, we all fall under that form of appointment. We all have letters supporting, backing our appointment into the public service through our commission and other agencies. Because, let me explain that other agencies so empowered. Because there are some agencies that also empowered to appoint people to appoint officers into the public service. Example of those agencies so empowered are SUBEB. SUBEB has power to appoint primary school teachers into our primary schools. Another example is LASUT, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Lagos State University Teaching Hospital also have power to appoint medical doctors, to appoint nurses, to appoint pharmacists, to appoint medical lab scientists, to appoint pharmacists, and other health workers. So they have the power to appoint. They are not commission, they are board. LASUT is board, is a board, and they also empowered to appoint. So that's just 2 examples. There are so many like that. LASHMA has power to appoint. Lagos State Health Management Board, Health Management Authority, or agency, they also have power to appoint. So, and other agencies like that. Now, the second one is the second form of appointment is through formal agreement between the officers and the state government. Through formal agreement between the officers and the state government. What do I mean by this? Let's say there is a gynecologist doing very well in London, UK, and Mr. Governor wants that gynecologist to come and work with us here in Lagos State. So Mr. Governor now appoints some, PS and maybe CMD LASUT, PS Air Service Commission, PS Ministry of Health to go to that UK and invite and talk to that gynecologist to come and work with us in Lagos State. On getting there, they met the doctors, the gynecologists, and maybe eventually the gynecologist now said, before I can come to work here with you in Lagos State, are you ready to pay, for example, 15 million monthly as my remuneration? Are you ready to provide my official car, year 2024 Prado Jeep, My accommodation should be in Magodo with an at least 5-bedroom apartment. So these are the conditions that the officer, needed to be provided before he can come out to work with us. So if eventually those team now came back to Lagos and write their report back to governor, Mr. Governor that sent them that, and the governor eventually signed it, it becomes binding. So that is to tell you that there are some technocrats that rule also provide that they can come to the service, that they will not be in the same salary scheme with our own. They are so-called, they are technocrats, as I said. So these are the two forms or two ways that appointment can be given by the state, by the commission, and any other agencies so empowered. I hope I'm communicating. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, let's talk about appointment to senior posts and appointment to junior posts. Appointment of officer from grade level 7 and above remains or is vested on the State Service Commission and any other similar body so empowered. So any officer coming in on grade level 7 and above, his appointment is on the commission or any other body so empowered, any other similar body so empowered. While appointment to junior posts remains with ministry, department, and agencies. And the junior post we are talking about is officers of grade level 6 and below. But before that appointment can be actualized, there are some procedures that has to be, because that has to be considered. But appointment of junior officers is never the job of the commission. It's never the job of any of the State Service Commission. That can be done between the parent ministry and PSO and the likes. Now, let's now go to the next one. The next one I want to talk about is incremental dates. Incremental dates. I believe we have been hearing incremental dates, not today. Now, in public service, we have incremental date. And what the rule says is that an officer's incremental date shall be 1st of January or 1st of July after the first anniversary of his appointment date. And this is subject to good conduct performance. Incremental date. That is the date we observe slight increment in our remuneration, in our salary. That is the date we say, an officer is moving from one step to another. An officer is moving from one step to another step. That is incremental date. When you receive your letter of promotion, you will now see that Mr. Olaigbe is being promoted from so grade level to another grade level. Notionally, they will now put 1st of July or 1st of January. That is the date at which that promotion is taking effect. Like I said, there are two dates. It is either every public servant in Lagos State belongs to 1st of January or you belong to 1st of July. Now, how do we now come to that? How do we get to that? Is what I want to explain now. All officers employed between January 2nd and July 1st will earn 1st of July date. all officers employed between 2nd of January and 1st of July will earn 1st of July date. That is also called 17. To those who understand what I'm talking about, that is 17. 17 means 1st of July. So at the salary of that 1st of July, that is the time you will now observe that increment in your salary. That is your incremental date. And on the other hand, all officers employed between 2nd of July and 1st of January of next year will bear 1st of January date. That is how we arrive at that. That is how we got to that. So then the next one I want to talk about is seniority. Seniority. There is seniority in service. And everybody knows that officers on grade level 13 senior that officer on grade level 10. No doubt about that. Officers on grade level 10 senior that of level 7. There is no doubt about that. But that is not what the public service rule is saying here. The public service rule is saying that seniority among officers is determined by the date of first assumption of duty, certified by an authorized officer. Is determined by the date of first assumption of duty, certified by an authorized officer. That is what the rule says. Example of it is, for example, if Mr. ABC got their letter of appointment the same day, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C received their letter of appointment the same day. When Mr. A got his own letter, he now said, thank God they gave me this employment letter. Well, what is today's date? Today is 13th of June. Okay, since I have my letter, I will resume first day in the month of July. That is Mr. A. That is what Mr. A said. Mr. B said, well, now that I have the letter, on Monday morning, I have to be at the commission or I have to be at the agency and appear. Mr. B appeared. When Mr. B appeared, he was given a form to fill. That form is what we call assumption of duty certificate. And instantly, his name was included in the nominal roll of that agency. That is Mr. B. Then Mr. C said, okay, since today is 13th of June and my birthday is 25th, I want to resume on the 25th of this month. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who is the most senior among these three people? I believe you conclude with me, is Mr. B. And who is the next? The next is Mr. C, who resume on his, who said he will resume on his birthday, which is on the 25th of this month. And the last person is Mr. A, who said he will resume the first day in the month of July. So that is seniority as stipulated in the public service rule. Now, let's talk about recruitment. Recruitment simply means filling of vacancies by the appointment of persons not already in the civil service or public service of Lagos State, according to the manpower requirement of MDA, Ministry, Department, and agencies. If you are coming, an officer that is coming from school, a new fresh graduate that has just finished NYSC and got employment, that is what we mean by recruitment in public service. But an officer that is coming from Ogun State Service Commission to join Lagos State Service Commission, or somebody coming from the Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, to join Lagos State Service Commission, that is not recruitment. That is what we call transfer of service. That is what we call transfer of service. So let's talk about types of appointment. Types of appointment. Direct appointment to public service may take any of the following forms. And I'm saying emphatically that there are 6 types of appointment stated in the public service rule. There are 6 types of appointment. Number 1 is appointment as trainee or pupil. Appointment as trainee or pupil. Appointment as trainee or pupil. That is where a candidate for employment requires additional professional experience before that officer can be given full employment. That is appointment as trainee. Example of it is house officers in the health sectors. A fresh doctor will be asked to come, for house officers, for internship, to learn about the practical aspect of those things he has already been taught while in schools. And good performance, good conduct after this training period, that officer can be given full employment. That is appointment as trainee or pupil. Now, number 2, which is appointment on probation into a permanent post. Appointment on probation into a permanent post. That is where most of us here listening to me, even including myself, that is where we all belong. When we came in, we are subjected to probationary period. Immediately, we got employed. Before, that is for 2 years before being confirmed. That is the period they said they use pencil to write our name. 1 year, pencil or shift. At that point in time, we are conscious of the job. We don't want to go astray. We are so conscious of the rules pending the public service. I have a share. Throughout my, I can say emphatically that throughout my career so far, mi ò gba query because gbogbo tó tẹ̀ sí sọ fún wa nígbà tá a wọlé nígbà yẹn ẹ má jẹ́ kó fún yín query o ní probationary period nígbà tó ti wà confirmed you are not entitled to so many things, so a lot of things like that. And let me also make it known to you that within that probationary period, officers are required to some prescribed examination appropriate to his appointment. For senior officers, they will do compulsory exams. The prescribed examination is compulsory exams. For clerical officers, it is called combined confirmed exam. And for technical officers, that one is subject to the discipline of that officer, because in service we have tailors. In service, we have carpenter. In service, we have plumber. So, dẹ̀ lè gbé exam tailor ká gbé fún plumber. So that is what I'm talking about. So their own exam is based on their discipline, on their profession. I believe I'm communicating. So the next one is appointment on contract for a specified period. Appointment on contract for a specified period. This is an engagement of person to an established office for a tour of 2 years. It is for a tour of 2 years renewable ones, making total of 4 tours. So appointment on contract, it is for a tour of 2 years, renewable ones. So tí officer yẹn bá lò 2 years yẹn tán dẹ̀ ṣì ń gbádùn appointment ẹ̀, so that officer can still be given another tour, making total tour of 4. But there are some cases that we have 3rd tour, 4th tour, 5th tour, 6th tour ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, mostly in the health sectors. Reason tó fi ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ni wípé, for example, let's say we have in Lagos State, we have about 5 ophthalmologists in Lagos State. And out of these 5 ophthalmologists, 3 are retiring. 3 are retiring. So when the 3 that are retiring, when they are leaving, and there are the numbers of patients that are still seeing doctors, ophthalmologists, they are so enormous. So are we now saying only the 3 ophthalmologists on ground will be managing the entire, patients in Lagos State? On that note, that those 2 retiring may be re-engaged for on contract. So, and that is the reason why we keep on having a 2, 4 tour, 5 tour, 6 tour against what is stipulated in the public service rule. Now, let me make it known to you that contract appointment may be given to pensioners, former public servants, retired public servants can be re-engaged on contract. Not only that, contract appointment, officers that are even above 55 and above can also be given. Definitely, and a director that left, that retired at the age of 60, for contract appointment, you can still be re-engaged. And let me also make it known, of all the types of appointments we are talking about, it is only contract appointment and part-time appointment that can be granted to officers that are above 55 years of age. Yes. Now, not only that, contract appointment is in the interest of the service. And we are not just giving contract appointment. It is given to officers that possess specialized skills. Just like I've explained the issue of that ophthalmologist. Now, contract appointment can be terminated in 2 ways. Number 1, let me say in 3 ways. Number 1, it can be terminated by the state government. It can be terminated by the state government. The state government can say, Mr. Olaigbe, we have now seen somebody to be doing the job for us. Or it can also be terminated by the officer himself. Mr. Olaigbe can say, well, you take me to South Lagos State, I want to go and join my family. I want to enjoy the rest of my life with my family. So, and the third one, it can also be terminated by the efflution or expiration of that contract appointment. So, the time it can equally be terminated. So, the next one is acting appointment. This type of appointment is mostly granted to top management in service. Acting appointment can never be given to junior officers on grade level 6 and above. Though the rule says executive, level 7 and above. But when we have directors on level 17 on ground that are so enormous, can definitely level 7, level 8, to me, cannot enjoy that acting appointment. But when the rule says level 7 and above, that is what the rule says. Executive officer level 7, and that is what the rule says. But if it's granted to that level, so be it, because the rule has already allowed it. But in the practical sense of it, Temi Akintijo and service in sin, if I'm not mistaken, I've never seen a acting appointment being given to a level 7 officer. But that is just by the way. Now, when we say acting appointment, people mistakenly, misunderstand it with holding forts or relieving. I'm relieving my GM, or I'm holding fort for my PS. That is what they are supposed to say. Then people will now say, I'm the acting PS, I'm the acting GM, I'm the acting MG. Some directors do say so. That statement is wrong. It's a wrong usage of words. Because in any acting appointment, that officers must be given letter to that effect. There will be letter to that effect. And that letter must also be gazetted. Am I communicating? That letter must also be gazetted. It is on that note that acting officer, that officer that's given acting appointment, can enjoy the allowances of that acting capacity, because there are allowances for acting under chapter 15 allowance. Chapter 15 discuss allowances. If you check it, it's allowances. All chapter 15 talks about allowances. Chapter 15, and it is clearly stated in chapter 15 that those officers acting are entitled to acting allowances. And the rule equally stated that an officer who is in acting capacity, tó bá jẹ́ pé ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gba bóyá a level 16 officer or level 17 that has just been given level 17 this year, or level 16 this year, and is now given letter to act in acting capacity, that officer, according to the rule, will not enjoy the acting allowance. But if the officer has spent 2 years on that level 16 or 17 and eventually became, given that letter to act in acting capacity, that officer will enjoy 50% of that acting allowance. But for an officer who has spent 3-4 years, level 17 tó ti pẹ́ lórí 17 yẹn, tó ń await PS, bá ṣe ń await yìí. So that officer can enjoy full, that is 100% acting allowance. That is what the rule says. Now, I think I've explained that. Let us now go to the appointment on temporary basis. Appointment on temporary basis. So when a member, that is when a member of staff is employed temporarily in an established post. When an officer, came in and employed temporarily in an established post, that is temporary appointment. Now, let me explain further. Example of this is a medical intern or PA to honorable members of House of Assembly. In the Lagos State House of Assembly, where we have the honorables. When they came into the power, when they after the election and they've won, when they are coming, some of them are coming with their PA, Some are coming with their secretaries. Some are coming with their drivers, their personal drivers. Some are coming with their SAPA and the like. So many nomenclature like that. So when they are bringing them, we accommodate them. We accommodate them temporarily. We engage them temporarily. And the moment after their tenure, when the honorables is now going for another election, for another tenure, they are going with the honorables. They are all moving. They are not going. We wanted the honorable on. So that is why we call that appointment temporary appointment. So the next one is, which is the last one, the sixth one, is appointment on part-time basis. Appointment on part-time basis. This type of appointment is given to professionals whose skills, expertise are highly needed. In LASUT, we have part-time lecturers. LASWE, we have part-time lecturers. In Lagos University of Education, we have part-time lecturers. So we have, even in health sectors, they may engage part-time consultant, medical consultant. I don't know whether you have experienced situation you go to LASUT. Tomania, fine. Mr. Olegbe, the consultant you want to see usually come on Wednesday. That is to show that that consultant is on appointment, is on part-time, is engaged on appointment on part-time basis, because he only comes, that medical consultant normally comes on Wednesday to attend. If it's a surgeon, they will have arranged all the operation the consultant will have that Wednesday. So when the consultant comes, I come attend this one. Watching party operation kan, no ma me, no ma tún ma wheelie me wọlé. To watching party operation kan, no ma tì mí wọlé. So because he only comes on Wednesday. To bá dé bóyá Thursday o, bóyá St. Nicholas ló book ara ẹ̀ mọ́. Bóyá Friday o, bóyá Duchess ló attach ara ẹ̀ mọ́. So that is part-time, that is appointment on part-time basis. So now let's talk about secondment and transfer. Let's talk about secondment. Now, secondment is temporary release of an officer to the service of another government-approved body or any recognized international organization for a specified period. Temporary release, that is the key word in the definition. If it comes under your CBT, secondment is temporary release. Now, secondment comes in two ways. Ọ̀nà méjì ni secondment pín sí. One, secondment comes in the public interest. It comes in the public interest. Two, secondment comes in the officer's interest. And I will take it one after the other. Let me discuss in the public interest first. Let's say secondment in the public interest. Let's say during the regime of Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, BRF in Lagos State, let's say I work with him at the governor's office, and he really gbadun the way I work with him. He really enjoyed my job with him. And thereafter, he became honorable minister. He became honorable minister. So, when he became the minister, he now called on me. Olaigbe, where are you? Are you still with Lagos State? Yes, sir, I'm still with Lagos State. Now, would you like to join me in Abuja to run these 4 years together? So if I oblige to join him and I carry my load, from Lagos and face Abuja, I am going on secondment in the public interest. I am going in the public interest. Now, what will now happen after I had left? I may not, if for secondment in the public interest, I may not wait for PMB meetings to be held. And within a very shortest time, a letter will come from Abuja requesting for my service on secondment at the federal. So many questions will now erupt. Number one, what will happen to my name on the nominal roll? Here in Lagos State that I'm working with, presently working with Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations. What will happen to my name on the nominal roll? Another question is, what will happen to my salary? Another question I think you are supposed to ask is, what will happen to my promotion during the promotion? So these are the questions I'm expecting you, or that may be bothering you. What will happen? So I will now take it one after the other. Number one, my name on the nominal roll will still remain. Don't forget, I said temporary release. So my name on the nominal roll will still remain. But at the last column of the nominal roll, are we there? At the last column of the nominal roll, where we have remarks, against my name, they will now put on secondment there. You now put on secondment. That one will clear me from any audit exercise that they may be doing here in Lagos State. Is that understood? So the next one is, what happened to my salary in Lagos State? The moment I move to Abuja, my salary in Lagos State stops there. I will no longer collect salary from Lagos State. Now, another question is, what happened to my promotion? Now, that of promotion, if the secondment is in the public interest, you may not come. I, Olaegbe, may not come, since I'm using myself as an example. Because you may be doing your promotion here in Lagos State now, and presently I may be with the Honorable Minister in Bahamas or Florida or America on official ground. So just go ahead with your promotion here in Lagos State. I'll still remain, let's say by the time I'm leaving, by the time I was leaving on secondment, let's say I'm on level 15. Let's say I'm on level 15. So I will still remain on my level 15 while my contemporaries are doing their promotion here in Lagos State. Now, after the first 4 years, let's say after the first 4 years, let's say maybe I don't have plan, to go back again, or after the first 4 years, I may now come to Lagos, and I appear, discuss with my director and HR that I ought to have had my promotion 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 3 years or whatever ago. So I want to sit for my promotion in the forthcoming promotion exercise. So then what the director and HR will now do is to include my name on the eligibility list for that year in question. So I will now do all the needful for promotion as stipulated in the circular. So I will do all other things as stated in the circulars. So, and the effective date of my promotion will now be dated back. So back to when my colleagues or my contemporaries had their own. If it is 3 years ago, so they will not say, they will not give my letter. Notionally, it will not be effective from that 3 years ago. So meaning that I don't have anything to lose. I don't have anything to lose with my contemporaries. So that is a secondment in the public interest. Now, let me explain the other one, which I said secondment in the officer's interest. In the secondment with the officer's interest, it is the officer that is initiating, that is applying for secondment. So, for a temporary release to another service body. Example of it is, let's say, my uncle just won election. Let's say local government election was just concluded, and my uncle or a relative has just won the election, and I call him, Egbon, congratulations, báwo ni, inú mi dùn, ilẹ̀ win, that's good, Egbon, please, shake him up, I want to come for my secondment in, let's say, for example, Ojodu LCDA. I want to do my, I want to come for secondment at Ojodu LCDA. So you discuss with the chairman, and the chairman said, you are free if it is possible, because he may not know, being a politician, but you, public servant, you are the one that will know. So nobody come about. So what is expected of you is you now put up a letter, you apply for secondment to, Ojodu LCDA. You attach your letter of appointment, you attach your letter of confirmation, you attach all your promotion to date, you attach your SPADEF, you attach it together. Then the ministry will now call on PMB meetings where you are going to be invited. So they will now invite you for such a PMB. You appear. You can see the difference now. For secondment in the officer's interest, you may not appear. For secondment in the public interest, you may not appear. But for secondment in the officer's interest, you must appear at the PMB. So when you now appear at the PMB, it is the PMB that will now approve. And when they are approving it for you, they will approve you for 2 years in the first instance. Am I communicating? They will approve it for you for 2 years in the first instance. So let's say for that first 2 years, you have really enjoyed your secondment, a lot of goodies have come in, you are really enjoying it. So, you may want such things to continue. You may want such things to keep on moving. So before the exclusion of that first 2 years that you are given, you write for letter of extension. You apply for what? Extension. So when you now apply for extension, another PMB will be convened shortly before the end of that first 2 years. When the PMB now convene, they will now give you extension for 1 year, making total of 3 years. So secondment in the officer's interest, the maximum duration, because it can come under CBT, you want to do, the maximum duration for secondment in the officer's interest is 3 years. While secondment in the public interest has no time bound, because after the first 4 years, Timoni Moshe Pẹ̀lú BRF, Honorable Minister, I can equally, I can equally continue. I can continue. If Babatunde Raji Fashola had the first 4 years as Honorable Minister, and also continue again for another 4 years. So, officer on secondment in the public interest has the privilege to spend the whole 8 years on secondment, because I said it has no time bound. So that is secondment. But for secondment in the officer's interest, he will not also entitled to salary. He will not also entitled to salary the moment he has left to Judu at the SCD, as I've explained. He will not longer entitled to state a salary. He will not be given salary. But during the promotion, he will need to come. He will need to come for promotion. He will need to come, and he will need to equally spend normal, we need to mature. That's the right word. You will need to mature. So, and at the period is entitled to promotion, you will need to come down and do the needful for promotion. So that is the distinction between secondment in the officer's interest and the secondment in the public interest. Now, let us now go to transfer. Transfer is the permanent release of an officer from one scheduled service to another. Permanent release from one scheduled service to another. So, for an officer who has sought secondment in the officer's interest, after the first 3 years, I said the maximum year he can spend is 3 years. And if that officer is still enjoying, his service at the local government, are you there? He may still want to continue, but now he has only maximum of 3 years. So that officer will not have any other option but to seek forward to transfer of service. He will need to now transfer his service from that state to local government. And there are 2 types of transfer of service. We have inter-transfer service and intra-transfer of service. Intra means within the state now. Officer can move from Health Service Commission to Civil Service Commission. Officers can move from Judicial Service Commission to, Local Government Service Commission. That is intra. But it can also be inter. That is when the officer is coming from state government to join Lagos state government, or somebody is going from Lagos is going to Abuja. That is inter-service transfer. Now, for transfer of service, like I said, the moment an officer has sought for transfer of service, his name will be expunged from the nominal roll. Nominal roll, unlike the secondment that I said, his name will still be in the nominal roll. But for transfer of service, the name will be expunged completely from the nominal roll. Now, 3 things to make transfer of service valid. 3 conditions must be met. Number 1 is willingness of that your scheduled service to release you. Willingness of Civil Service Commission to release Ola Egbe to Local Government Service Commission. That must be there. 2, readiness of Local Government Service Commission to absorb me. Readiness of Local Government Service Commission to say, Ola Egbe, we are ready to take you back. We are ready to take you. Then the last condition is there must be vacancy. There must be vacancy. If there is no vacancy, then it means there is no provision for the officer's salary in that scheduled service. There is no provision for the officer's salary in that scheduled service to learn here. So, and these three conditions must be practically, considered. Tí kan bá ti yẹ, then it can work. Ìyẹn náà wọ́n sọ pé kò lè work. Transfer of service ò lè work. So though there are so many unwritten processes tí ó yẹ pé a lè kàwé kankan, lè ka public service rule kẹ́ bá, lè kàwé mi kẹ́ bá, ni pé there are some processes that undergo underneath transfer of service that will not be written in the practical. The practical aspect of it, is completely different from what is in the written. So let's talk about conversion, advancement, promotion, posting, and deployment. Now, conversion is the movement of a confirmed officer from one cadre to another on presentation of additional requisite additional qualification. Requisite additional qualification. Note those conditions. For conversion, that officer must be confirmed. Must be a confirmed officer. And that officer must also have additional qualification. Must also have additional qualification. If you don't have additional qualification, then you cannot do conversion. You cannot say, I'm admin, and I entered, I'm an admin, I've gotten to director level, and I want to convert. Or I'm admin, and I'm proceeding, and I want to convert to procurement, or I want to convert to another cadre. I want to convert to finance and account. Is not possible. There must be additional qualification. You must have sought for approval for a course of study. Complete those course of study and appear and request for conversion. Now, before January 1st, before March 1st, 2016, all converting officers in the service will be asked to, step down a grade level, matured on that level before that officer will start moving. But as at January 1st, as at March, I don't know where I'm saying January, as at March 1st, 2016, that policy changed through a circular, lateral conversion in Lagos State. And let me also make it known to you that across all the states in Nigeria, is only Lagos State that is adopting or that is practicing lateral conversion. So when the circular first came in 2016, it is without any prejudice to national promotion. That is, an executive officer, grade level 10, grade level 12, can convert to admin officer, grade level 10, grade level 12, like that. The moment you are due, and most especially those that are stagnant, that are already stagnated, they were able to move with the release of the circular. It's because the circular says without any prejudice to national promotion, national day. Now, but in December 2016, another circular came that reviewed the existing policy on lateral conversion. And it was the circular that said, henceforth, no officer will enjoy two career movements in service. No officer will enjoy two career movements and that any officer converting must mature. That is, you cannot do conversion and also be considered for promotion. That is what I mean by no two career, no officer will enjoy two career movement on the same year. So a lot of conditions were also, introduced, added to that circular of March 1st, 2016. That says that it has no prejudice to national promotion. Now, in 2025, we all see those circulars now coming now. It is becoming tougher, it's becoming harder because now they've added CBT. You have to do CBT. After CBT, you have to face panel again for screening exercise, and that's all. So before an officer can be considered for conversion. Now, don't let us overflow that issue. Let us now go to the next. The next one is advancement. Advancement is an upward movement of an officer within the cadre. Upward movement of an officer within the cadre. As a result of an additional qualification or cognate experience, or as provided in the schemes of service. Anyway, advancement comes in two ways. One, there is statutory advancement. And two, there are some advancement granted as a result of additional, as a result of passing some prescribed examination. Now, let me take it one after the other. Example of statutory advancement is that of admin on the level 8 being advanced after 2 years in service. So that is statutory advancement. So while the other aspect is example of the other aspect is in X sector, the admin, the doctors on residency program, when they pass their, let's say the doctor, doctors came in, the entry point of doctor is level 12. I believe you all know that. The entry point of doctor is a grade level 12. And let's say after having spent 1 year, having moved from 12 to 13, then he will have been confirmed. After 2 years, get confirmed. Then the officer now did promotion to level 13. So when he get to 13, maybe the doctors, in doctors, there are two, the career movement of doctors, medical officers, medical and dental officers. Their career movement is like a tree. It's like a tree having 2 branches. They all start from the same point. They all start their journey from the same point on level 12. When you now get to 13 or 14, you now see some people wishing to be consultants. And you now see some doctors that want to just toe the generalist cadre. They want to go just the way we are moving. We admin are moving. So it has 2 branches in the health sectors for those medical and dental officers. Now, for those who are willing to go for residency program, who eventually will now become consultants, when they get to 13, for residency, when they pass their first part 1 of their fellowship exam, they get advanced automatically to level 14. The moment they pass part 1, their movement from that 13 to 14 is by advancement, because they don't wait for promotion. They don't wait for 3 years. Again, they move. And their movement from 14 to 15 is also by advancement. From that 14, pápápá tó bá tún ti pass ẹ̀ part 2 wọn tó bá pass part 2 wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ á túbọ̀ sí 15. So òun ló máa ń jẹ́ kí career movement àwọn doctors kó yá within a very short time tó bá wọ service you dey still have more years àwọn dẹ̀ ti wà level 17. So now their movement from 13 to 14 is by advancement. From movement from 14 to 15 and become a full consultant is by advancement. So that is to tell you that there are two types of advancement. We have the statutory and the one based on passing some prescribed examination. Now, then the next one I want to talk about is promotion. Promotion. All officers who were eligible for promotion shall be considered, except those on disciplinary action. Even at a PMB for promotion, if the representative of a staff or representative of commission open the record of a file and sees that an officer still having query unended, unclosed, that representative of commission or a staff may decide to stop that officer, deprive that officer from promotion as upon pending disciplinary issue. So it's always good, it's an advice to us too, we directors on this platform, that tẹ́ ẹ bá fún officer yín ní query, ẹ try kẹ́ close query yẹn. Tó bá jẹ́ pé query yẹn máa wà nínú file officer yẹn, ẹ class kẹ́ close, tẹ́ bá ti fún tó ti reply, then ẹ sọ fún bóyá verbal, ẹ kọ síbẹ̀ pé the officer is hereby given verbal warning not to do it again. Ẹ ti end ẹ nìyẹn. KPS sign ẹ, bó dẹ̀ pé director náà ló máa sign ẹ. Ẹ ti end ẹ nìyẹn. But if you give an officer query, officer yẹn reply àbí kò reply, then it means pé ó ṣì ní pending disciplinary action nìyẹn. That is the implication. So, and the minimum years that an officer must spend on the post before being considered eligible for promotions are as follows. Officers on the level 6 and below, minimum of 2 years. Every 2 years they move. Officers on the level 7 to 14, every 3 years now move. Officers on level 15 to 17, they move every 4 years, just like the stage we are now. Because I believe all officers on hearing me now, we all know our movement is on level 14. I mean, 4 years. So now it is also should be noted that promotion shall be made strictly on basis of vacancy. So if there is no vacancy for an officer, to then ṣe promotion, ó kàn ṣe lásán ni, wọn ò ní promote ẹ, because ó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. It means pé àwọn admin yẹn ni wọn make provision fún, so ó máa lose promotion yẹn nìyẹn. So then I said I want to talk about posting. Posting and deployment, people use those words interchangeably. They are the two different words. Posting is the movement of an officer from one unit or one division in a ministry to another division or to another department. Movement of an officer from one department to another department within the same ministry is posting. While movement of an officer from one ministry to another ministry or agency is deployment. That one in the mainstream is being done by Public Service Office, PSO. Normally release the deployment letter, tomati circulars, tomati release deployment circulars. Everybody, I want to be me. Olaigbe is no more in Estabo. Olaigbe is now in special duties and intergovernmental relations. You can see. So that is deployment. But when the admin, when initiated a posting and certified by the PAMSEC of that ministry, that is posting. So that is posting. So Olaigbe can be moved from a particular department within that ministry to another department. So that is, I believe you can now juxtapose the two concepts now. Now, let us now talk about exit from the service. Exit from the service. In the public service rule, there are 10 different ways an officer can exit from the service. There are 10 different ways of exiting the service as stipulated in the public service rule. And I'll now take it one after the other. Number one is resignation. Resignation. Number two, withdrawal. Withdrawal. Number three, retirement. Retirement. Number four, redundancy. Redundancy. Number five, incapacitation. Incapacitation. Number six, abolition of office. Abolition of office. Number seven, invalidation. Invalidation. Number eight, termination of appointment. Termination of appointment. Number nine, dismissal. Dismissal. And number 10, death. Death. So those are the 10 different ways that an officer can exit the service. We will now take it one after the other. Now, resignation. That is where an officer who has not served, who has not served who has not served up to 5 years, desire to leave. An officer who has not served for 5 years, desire to leave. Àti gbà síṣẹ́, but kò tí ì lò tọdún 5 lọ́wọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀ bá ní kó máa bọ̀ UK. So, what is expected of that officer is that that officer is required to give 1 month notice of intention to leave or pay 1 month salary in lieu of notice. That is what is expected of that. If that officer has done that, then it is it cannot, because if the officer failed to do the right thing, it can now lead to dismiss. It can now lead to disciplinary issue. The absent from duty without leave. But if an officer, and there is no section of the rule that says that you say you cannot go or you cannot leave the service. But if you are leaving, do the needful. That is what the rule says. If you are leaving, do the needful. So, given 1 month notice of intention to leave or pay 1 month salary in lieu of a notice. Now, number 2, withdrawal. Withdrawal. That is where an officer who has served for 5 years, but not up to 10 years in service. Àgbà síṣẹ́, ó ti lò kọjá ọdún 5, but kò tí lò to 10 years. Maybe he has just spent 7 years, or he has just spent 8 years, or he has just spent 9 years. Not up to 10 years. If he now desire to leave, they will say that person is leaving the service on the basis of withdrawal. On the basis of what? Withdrawal. So, and the same thing as we have discussed for the resignation of his expectation is also goes to withdrawal. To give 1 month notice of intention to leave or pay 1 month salary in lieu of notice. Now, the next one is retirement. Retirement. Retirement can be categorized into 3. Retirement can be categorized into 3. Number 1, we have voluntary retirement. Number 2, we have statutory retirement. Number 3, we have compulsory retirement. Compulsory retirement. We'll now take it one after the other. Then voluntary retirement. So any officer who has spent 10 years in service, any officer who has spent 10 years in service, and the person is now leaving, he desires to leave. So when that officer is now leaving, we say that officer is leaving, is exiting voluntarily from service. A sọ pé ní ẹ retire, ìyẹn ń pè ní voluntary retirement. He is retiring voluntarily. If you have spent 10 years and you are leaving, you are retiring. Retirement in it. So it now depends on the nature of the retirement. Is it voluntary? Is it statutory? Is it compulsory? And what is expected of that officer is that that officer must give 3 months, he must give 6-month notice or pay 3 months salary in lieu of notice. That officers must give 6-month notice or pay 3 months salary in lieu of a notice. So that is for the voluntary retirement. Then the next one is statutory retirement. Statutory retirement is when an officer has clocked the age of 60 or spent 35 years in service. So whichever that comes first, is it the length of service or the officer has he spent 35 years length of service or has he clocked the age of 60? Whichever comes first. So, and what is expected of that officer is also to pay, is also to give 6-month notice. Ìgbà yẹn ló máa sọ pé ẹnìyẹn ó ti ń prepare ara ẹ̀, because letters has to be written, for indebtedness at PSO, at Ministry of Commerce, at DMO, ó gbọ́dọ̀ gba gbogbo àwọn kìíní yẹn. Ìyẹn máa fi ló ti ń tòwé ẹ̀, ó ti ń palẹ̀ mọ́. So then the last one under retirement is compulsory retirement. Compulsory retirement can be granted, and officers, a compulsory retirement could be as a result of reorganization or re-engineering or reorientation or restructuring, not reorientation, restructuring. So for an officer, an erring officer, for example, a teacher, like I was saying, a teacher, maybe some students came late to school one morning and teacher to one gate for coming late, and one day and before you know it, that student lost an eye and an eye out of the 2 eyes. So be teacher and she were wala niye. So before you know it, the family of the student went online, and communicated Mr. Governor, and on the social media, so, and the governor saw the note and forwarded it to the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Health, Commissioner, Minister of Health, not to forward the TGPS Education District here. Before you know it, then PMB disciplinary tour. The guy was invited. So, to cut it short, instead of giving that teacher ultimate penalty, that officer may be given compulsory retirement. for a soft landing. And if you may recall, during the regime of Mr. Akinwumi Ibidapo Ambode, he sent about 16 PS away when he came in. Those 16 PS, they left on the basis of compulsory retirement. Gbogbo kíní tó bá ṣe, táwọn ìjọba wa bá ṣe, ó wà nínú òfin wa, ó wà nínú rule wa. So there is still room for it. So that is what we call compulsory retirement. Then the next one is redundancy. And let me also make it to you that for compulsory retirement, the officer is entitled to his terminal benefit. He's entitled to all his terminal benefits because so the next one is a redundancy. Redundancy is where an officer's service is no longer required. Where the service of that officer is no longer required. So it could be as a result of policy. Where cadre is no longer, so some cadres were not, some cadres were abolished. And officers in that cadre, they may still be in service. So in that situation, what the rule says is that that officer shall be paid 3 months' salary in lieu of notice, and he will also be entitled to his terminal benefit. Terminal benefit. Now, the next one is by incapacitation. Incapacitation. That one is as a result of ill health. Ill health. Officer tí ó ní kidney problem, àfi tó ní stroke. Wọ́n ti tọ́jú ẹ̀, office ti dáwó fún, office ti assist ẹ̀, àwọn Mr. Omoti, bóyá ní OTCI, wọ́n ti fún wọn ní financial assistance láti fi help ẹni yẹn. But at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, maybe the officer is not, is not fit. So when that officer is leaving, we say that officer is leaving as a result of incapacitation. Incapacitation. So then the next one is abolition of office. Abolition of office. Now, that is when the office ceases to operate, to exist. So that is when the office has gone moribund. It is possible that a certain agency is being, abolished. Then Mr. Governor can now say how many officers in that agency. Okay, they are just 30. Okay, governor may say, okay, I want 25. I'll take 25 out of that 30 officers in that agency. The remaining 5 officers should be sent away. So those 5 officers that are being sent away, they are leaving as a result of what? Abolition of office. I hope I'm communicating. Am I communicating? Please, somebody should unmute and reply.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Now, the next one is invalidation. Invalidation and incapacitation. They are similar, and they both has to do with ill health. They both has to do with ill health. But an officer who is living on the basis of invalidation, that officer must have been subjected to face a medical board. Must have been subjected to face what? A medical board. Medical board ló máa establish, ló máa determine continuity of the officers. Haven't been, examine the officer, haven't been, treated the officer. Àwọn ọlọ́mọ wò pé this officer within a space of time that officer will resume, will continue his job, or that officer can no longer, is not fit to continue. So officer tí ó wà fit to continue yẹn, òun là ń sọ pé that officer have been invalidated. So then the next one is termination and dismissal. I want to explain the two together, termination and dismissal. Termination, before the contributing pension, an officer that has been whose appointment has been terminated will still be entitled to his terminal benefit. But an officer who have been dismissed from service will not earn anything from the service. Onígbà nǹkankan. Àwo kàn máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tó bá ti gba lẹ́tà káwo lọ nìyẹn. But since we have started our contributing pension, you know, we contribute for our exit now. Gbogbo aládé rí alert tó máa send sí wa. We have ER, wọ́n fowó kan síwájú ẹ̀. We have EE, wọ́n fowó kan sílẹ̀. EE yẹn is our own contribution. That's the employee. EE means employee. ER, that is our employer. That is, you see another money. You will now realize that the money for that ER is higher than the money for EE. So that ER is our government money, their own contribution to our exit, to our RSA, retirement savings account. Now, the total is our own contribution is 8%. The government contribution is 10%, making total of 18%. We are still contributing on the reviewer, but that is it now. Now, presently now that we are contributing for our exit, both termination of appointment and dismissal is being done the same way now. It's being treated the same way. Formerly, they said ab initio, at the beginning of that contributing pension, they said those that are being dismissed, the government contribution will be reduced, will be removed, will be expunged from the RSA, and only the contribution of the officer will be paid to him or her. But now they receive, but for the dismissal and termination, they get the whole money for that of government and for the officer. But the difference between that dismissal and termination is that for termination of appointment, the officer can still be re-engaged in the service. Officer whose appointment has been terminated can still be re-engaged. And officer whose appointment is terminated and that is living, is an occupier of government quarters, has grace of 3 months to vacate the government quarters. He has grace of 3 months to vacate. While for dismissal, an officer who has been dismissed can never be re-engaged into the service any longer. He cannot be re-engaged again. That officer cannot be re-engaged. And if that officer is in the government quarters, what the rule says is that same day letter is given to him, that officer is expected to vacate the quarters. But out of clemency or mercy or or amnesty, that officers, they are given till the end of the month to vacate the government quarters. So that is how that one is done. So the last one is debt. So ní agbára Ọlọ́run a ní kú sí service o. Ọlọ́run ò ní ṣe yẹn ní portion títí wa lágbára Ọlọ́run. So that is someone who died while in service. So, and what usually comes first is the notification when somebody dies. the family will appear to notify the office that Mr. WYZ has died, and they will come along with the birth certificate. I mean, with the death, sorry, with the death certificate, certifying that that officer is no longer living. So I think after that one, then documentation. Ó dẹ̀ di ẹni tó máa gbé fáìlì nìyẹn. So for the family or for the next of kin, according to his record, only entitled sí entitlement that death, that disease. So on that note, I want to leave that appointment and exit from service. I am now going to discipline. Discipline. It is the duty of every public servant to be acquainted with the existing disciplinary rules and regulations in force, because an ignorance of the rule is not an excuse at any well-constituted PMB. Even in the court of law, an ignorance of the rule or the law is not an excuse. So, because some of us is only during promotion we read the public service rule. We don't, or situation like this that we want to do PS exam, that we open public service rule. It shouldn't be. It's a book that we should see as our companion. So that an officer is an establishment guru, he knows the rule, and it shows that that person is frequently opening the book, opening the rule and study it, not every 3 years for promotion or every 4 years for promotion. So in fact, all directors, level 17, you should be part of the book that will be on the right side of your tooth in the office. So bó ṣe yẹ kó jẹ́ nìyẹn, èmi ń gbé kiri ni, always in my laptop bag. So, and I read it. Kò sí kí n má kà, I read it. So it is pertinent to state that commission, State Service Commission, has the vested power to discipline any earning officer, because commission is our employer. Like I said in the beginning of this session, they are our employer. So, and they also, as the employers, so they also have power to discipline us. So, and this power may be delegated to any member, any commission, anybody, or any personality like the PS. When the PS is sitting as the chairman of a PMB, that it means that power has been delegated to the PS. So because we are still coming to the composition of PMB, because though the recommendation of the PMB will still be ratified at the commission, but the PS, as at the time is seated, analyzing the case or the disciplinary issue, he has the power. That power is delegated to the PS. Now, it's also important to note that any public servant who fails to appear before the commission when invited without any reasonable excuse, that person is also guilty of breach of discipline or disciplinary proceedings. In fact, bí ìgbà téèyàn ń dáràn mọ́ràn ni, ó ṣẹ̀, wọ́n dẹ̀ ní kó wá sọ tiẹ̀ for fair hearing ló bá sá lọ. So that will now take us to general inefficiency. General inefficiency consists of a series of omissions. It consists of a series of omissions or inappropriate discharge of duty to the required standard. When officers is not performing as expected, when officers is not capable of discharging his duty efficiently, then we say that officer is not efficient. That is general inefficiency. And it is the duty, if you observe that an officer is not performing very well, is not discharging his duty as expected or diligently, it is the duty of every superior, you, the directors, to observe any shortcomings of that officer and call his attention to it. Nǹkan kan lè máa bá fín, nǹkan kan lè máa worry ẹ̀. So, but the onus is on you as the director to call, Mr. Olegbe, ẹ yọjú sí mi. Mr. Olegbe, for the past 3 months, àwọn submission yín yẹn, àwọn mo máa ń gbádùn ẹ̀, memo yín yẹn has not been fantastically, written the way you used to write it. Mr. Olegbe will now say, oh, ẹ má bínú, this and this and this and this and this. We will not give you reason why he has not been performing as expected. So the onus is now on you, the directors, to now advise him. Kẹjọ wo bó ṣe máa ràn ọ́ lọ́rùn, because ìrọ̀rùn igi, ìrọ̀rùn ẹyẹ. When the officer is not performing well, the onus is on the directors. The onus is on the PS. When the PS is not having a director and HR that is energetic, that is diligent, iṣẹ́ ẹ̀ máa yọ fún PS. So let us talk about misconduct. Misconduct can be defined as a specific act of wrongdoing or improper behavior which can be investigated and proved. Which can be investigated and proved. Which can be investigated and proved. It is defined as a specific act of wrongdoing or improper behavior which can be investigated and proved. That is misconduct. Any act of, we all know, we are all matured. Any act of wrongdoing, we all know. So, and some of the examples of misconduct are foul language. Foul language. Public servant, you don't use foul language. In the office is not acceptable. Insubordination is another example. Sleeping on duty, habitual lateness to work, failure to keep record, loitering. Ẹlòmíì máa rìn nínú aláùsá yẹn báyìí, a máa lọ, a máa bọ̀, bígbà tí ò ní schedule kankan rárá ni. Tó bá rí gate, in a very short time, so ti rí ní bírú stab yẹn, in another short time, o ti rí ní map, tó ń ṣàárín kiri bí gbóná. So, unruly behavior is another example. Immoral behavior, drunkenness, battery, refusal to proceed on transfer or leave, or to accept posting. Then assault, negligence, dishonesty, all these ones are examples of misconduct. The example of misconduct. Ẹlòmíì ìrọ́pọ̀ kò sóòótọ́ rí láyé yìí. So that one will take us to serious misconduct. Serious misconduct is a specific act of very serious wrongdoing, and improper behavior, which is inimical to the image of the service and which can be investigated and, if proven, may lead to dismissal. As misconduct can lead to suspension, reduction in rank, reprimand, surcharge, but for serious misconduct, it normally leads to dismissal. serious misconduct normally lead to dismissal. And example of dismissal are, example of serious misconduct are suppression of records, absence from duty without leave. In fact, that one is an ultimate penalty. Even if you are traveling abroad, you must notify and seek for head of service approval. Even your annual leave, you are spending on annual leave and you need to go abroad, you must write and seek for approval of the office of the head of service. So if you don't do so, you will be charged against you as absent from duty without leave. Falsification of records, engaging in partisan political activities, false claim against government officials, advance fee fraud, rape, misappropriation of funds, bankruptcy, unauthorized disclosure of official information, sabotage, violation of oath of secrecy, sexual harassment, membership of court, corruption, willful damage of public properties, holding more than one full-time paid job, embezzlement, nepotism, and any other form of preferential treatment. So all these are what we call example of serious misconduct that can lead to dismissal or termination of appointment. Now, let's talk about sanctions. What are the sanctions for misconduct or serious misconduct? The ultimate, according to the public service rule, is dismissal. The ultimate is this dismissal. And I've discussed dismissal before. Now, reduction in rank. That is also called demotion. It's also called demotion. Reduction in rank. That is when the officer is leaving, is being demoted from higher grade level to a lower grade level. So that is reduction in rank. Then reduction in salary. Salary can be slashed. Salary can be slashed. Reduction in salary. Then the next one is withholding or deferment of increment. You that you are expecting your increment by the salary of July, those that are 1/7, when they now defer it, so that is sanction. It's a punishment for misconduct or serious misconduct. Not only that, surcharge. Surcharge has to do with, paying back. Bóyá nínú account room tá wà, wọ́n gbé 50,000 is missing. Ẹ̀yin mẹ́rin lẹ̀dẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀, àbẹ́yìn márùn-ún lẹ̀dẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n wá sọ pé gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní àkáǹtì yẹn lè máa dá owó yẹn padà. Are we there? So that is surcharge. They may be deducting it from your pay, your salary. Then the next one is reprimand. Reprimand is synonymous to warning or scolding. So don't do it again. Formal letter will be given in that respect. Then suspension. Suspension is when the officer is asked to stay at home and that officer is not collecting salary. That is suspension. But suspension must not be more than 3 months. Suspension, when you have given an officer suspension, is never done. It's not done. It's against the rule. You can give an officer 1 month suspension. You can give an officer 2 months suspension, but must not be more than 3 months. Tó bá ti more than 3 months, a fún officer yẹn tẹ́ bá máa reinstate salary yẹn padà, a fẹ́ dàbí ìgbà tó jẹ́ pé ìgbà tó salary yẹn kò gbà for 3-4 months, So the officer is no longer in service. He may have difficulty in restoration of his salary. Am I there? That is the effect of suspension. To lọ títí, suspension to lọ títí. So it's not done. Then termination of appointment àti ṣàlàyé, compulsory retirement àti ṣàlàyé, suspension of increment. Ìyẹn náà ni pé now for an officer that is expecting, next month, July 17, who is expecting increment in his salary by next month's salary, are we there? And they are, because of a disciplinary action he has just faced, they now gave him suspension of increment. That increment is now being suspended till another further, month or year. So that is what we call suspension of increment. On that note, I've not ended. Okay, let's talk about steps to note before, during, and after PMB disciplinary meeting. Now, before PMB meeting, and if there is an infraction, it is infractions that used to lead to disciplinary issue. There must be infraction. That is the genesis of disciplinary issue. If there is no infraction, there is no disciplinary matter. And when there is infraction, and you are ready, to proceed any disciplinary proceeding about an officer infraction, there should be issuance of query. Very, very fundamental. There should be issuance of what to query. Query is the foundation of any future disciplinary action. The officer bá ti ń gba query tó ń gba query, kó mọ̀ pé èsùrú tún ń bọ̀ lọ́la nìyẹn, wàhálà ń bọ̀ lọ́la nìyẹn. Àwọn àlejò tí ò mójú ẹ̀ ní department yẹn, tí ò mójú ẹ̀ ní ministry yẹn, wọ́n ń bọ̀ tó máa rí, because a PMB will be instituted against that officer. Òun ló query tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí nígbà yẹn ló lead sí gbogbo àwọn àlejò tó pè yẹn. So a valid PMB must not be constituted without the issuance of query in writing. And the following are elements of a valid query to make your query valid. Because if you have not done the needful, this one also goes to us all, directors. In any PMB, if you have not done the needful, representative of Ministry of Justice will not allow that meeting to hold, even if they have seated and they have observed so many lacunas, they have observed so many anomalies, that PMB will not hold. So, and the following are the elements of a valid query. Number one, the query must be precise and concise. The query must not be too lengthy, 3 pages, 40 kilo. Not only that, it must relate to the circumstances of the offense. Your query to ó gbọ́dọ̀ go in tandem with the infractions of the officer. Not only that, the rules and regulations which the officers have violated must be clearly stated. Gbogbo ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó ṣẹ̀ yẹn, a máa relate yẹ, a láti kọ́. Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó ní yẹn ṣẹ̀ nínú public service rule, it must be stated, clearly stated there. Not only that, the likely punishment for the offense may be clearly stated too. Okay, if it is a serious misconduct, say it that the likely punishment for this is dismissal. Tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹnìyẹn falsify records ni, àbí absent from duty without leave, ó jápa. The likely punishment for japa is dismissal. Kò ní nǹkan míì. The likely punishment for falsification of records or suppression of records or embezzlement, bankruptcy, rape, they are all termination. They are all dismissal. Is the ultimate penalty. So it should be stated. It should be stated in the query. Then, not only that, it is also important for the that the officer replies in writing to the reporting officer to decide whether the reply to the query exonerates the hearing officer or not. So the officer that is given query must reply. Even if he replies and you are not satisfied with the reply, write him back the areas where he needed to clarify, where he needed to explain further. So you have to write him back and let him clear himself in written. So another thing that I want to talk about is interdiction. Interdiction. Most people, when they say interdiction, they believe interdiction is a sanction or punishment. No. I stand to be corrected. Interdiction means temporary removal of an officer from performing his normal duty when disciplinary proceedings for his dismissals are being undertaken or is about to be undertaken and shall be placed on half salary pending the determination of the case. That is interdiction. There was an infraction. You are alleging 2-3 people. We want to establish who the culprit is among the 3. So the 3 people that you are alleging that you believe might have, stolen the money, for example, you will be interdicted. Tell them to leave while the investigation is ongoing. Tell them to leave the office so that their coming to office will not influence, will not interrupt, will not debar the smooth running of the investigation. And in the course of the time you have interdicted them, in the course of the period you have told them to stay at home, place them on half salaries. At least come and half of their salary. So at the end of the investigation, if it has now been established that Mr. W ló gbowó yẹn, so Mr. XYZ tó kù, they will now be entitled to their full salary. Interdiction is the procedure adopted when a serious case that may lead to dismissal has been instituted against an hearing officer. So the next one I want to talk about is invitation. Invitation to PMB, disciplinary. The invitation may be through personal service or by post. So where it is decided that the officer has not exonerated himself or deserve further fair hearing, he shall be invited by a letter given at least 48 hours notice to the PMB disciplinary meeting. That one also call my attention to this. When you give an officer query to answer, some of us are in the habit of saying that officer should reply within 24 hours. It is wrong. It is wrong. And if you are inviting an officer to face a PMB, and you are giving that officer 24 hours notice, it is wrong. So the normal hours is 48 hours notice. 48 hours to reply. You are hereby given 48 hours to reply this query. You are hereby given 48 hours to appear before a disciplinary meeting. The reason why we argue that one is that if you give officer 24 hours to reply a query, it means you have deprived that officer some other fundamental, documents that the officer might likely use to support his claims or representation. Okay, officer wá sọ ọ́fíìsì lẹ́nu, ó wá fún ní query lẹ́nu yẹn, ó wá sọ pé kó reply within 24 hours. Invariably, you are giving him to reply before he close, by the closes of work on that day. But if you give that officer 48 hours, meaning that pé o ti fún officer yẹn ní àǹfààní láti lọ túwèé, láti lọ tú fáìlì ẹ̀ nílé, where everybody ló ní fáìlì nílé nínú wardrobe, ó láti lọ tú àwọn nǹkan tó fẹ́ fi support claim ẹ̀, àwọn nǹkan tó fẹ́ fi sọ pé abẹ́rẹ́ máa yìí kẹ̀, gbogbo nǹkan báyìí ló dẹ̀ ti ní lọ́wọ́. But if you don't give him 48 hours, he will not be able to go home and support his claim with other documentary evidences. So I hope that one is clear. So let us now continue with our discussion on personal service. So the letter of invitation to the PMB meeting must be served to the officer, must be served on the officer. Receipt of the same must be acknowledged by him or her, and evidence of acknowledgement must be cited by the counsel representing the Minister of Justice on the panel during the sitting of the PMB. So, personal service, ẹ fẹ́ lọ serve officer yẹn ni. So, the officer must acknowledge the receipt of the letter of invitation, and the proof of service of the letter, of the invitation letter, must also be cited by the representative of Minister of Justice at that meeting. Then, the other one is service by post. If you are posting where personal service cannot be effected, let's say nobody is available to do personal service, to go and serve that officer, then the letter should be sent by post to his or her last known address on record. Check your record of service. Check the officer's record of service. There is always a last known address there. There is always next of skin is there. There is always telephone number one there. So it's suffice to say that once the document has been served by posting, an envelope which contains the document and on which the postage has been paid shall be deemed to have been delivered unless it is proof that the envelope was not delivered at that point in time. Even if an officer that has been invited for discipline proceeding must attend to exculpate himself, and failure to attend after proof of service of the invitation letter has been provided shall vitiate the proceedings of the board. So that an officer has been duly served, so that he acknowledge pé òun gba letter of invitation, and that officer still now did not show up at the PMB, that will not stop the recommendation, the proceeding of the PMB that day. They will go ahead and give their recommendation to be forwarded to the commission for ratification. So then these are the composition of PMB disciplinary meetings. You know, there are 3 committees in public service. We have committee for the junior officers, we have committee for the senior officer, and we have committee for the management officer. Committee for the junior officer is for the officer on the levels 6 and below, and the director, admin and human resource, will be the chairman of that committee. Will be the chairman, and together with the chairman, we have 3 deputy directors. 3 deputy directors must be seated. Not only that, 3 officers on the level 15, on the 12 to 15 must be seated. Tó bá jẹ́ junior officer ni o. And there is, I don't want to even explain that. That is what the circular says. Then we have the representative of Ministry of Establishment and Training there. We have the representative of Ministry of Justice, and we have the representative of the Supervisory Ministry. supervisory ministry. So meaning that agencies like LASEMA, agencies like LASEMA, like neighborhood, like fire, like safety commission, they are under the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations. So when they're having their meeting, when they're having their their PMB meeting, representative must come from the parent ministry, which is the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations. So that is the representative for the supervisory ministry. So now, for composition, still continue for the officers, for the senior officer on the level 7 to level 12. One PS is needed, and that's the host PS, will be the chairman of that PMB. 3 deputy directors must be seated. 3 deputy directors must be seated. I mean, 3 directors on level 17 must be seated. 3 directors on level 17 must be seated. Then representative of Ministry of Establishment, representatives of Ministry of Justice, representatives of the State Service Commission, and representative of the supervisory ministry must also be seated. Just 1 PS and 3 substantive director level 17. Now, for the management, level 13 and above, 3 PS must be seated. 3 permanent secretaries must be seated. And the host PS will be the chairman. The rule, the circular says the host PS must be the chairman, not the most senior PS seated. Then 5 substantive director on the level 17 must be seated. 5 substantive director on level 17 must be seated. Then there will be representative of Ministry of Establishment and Training. There will be representative of Ministry of Justice. There will be representative of State Service Commission. There will be representative of Supervisory Ministry, and there will be representative of the Public Service Office. These are the composition of personnel management board meetings on disciplinary. For you, it will now be clear to you that for PMB disciplinary, representative of Ministry of Justice must be there. But if it is PMB promotion, PMB recruitment, PMB further studies, PMB for conversion, PMB whatever, there will not be inclusion of the representative of Ministry of Justice. So let us now go to leave. Let us go to leave. Leave is simply regarded as authorized absence of an officer from duty for a specified period of time. Authorized absence of officer from duty for a specified period of time. That is leave. That is leave. So if an officer is not authorized, he just decided not to appear, so that is what that is not a leave. That is an absence from duty without leave, and that is becoming disciplinary issue. So if that officer is not authorized, just decided not to come, and it is when you don't come to work and you are receiving alert, what is happening there? When you don't come to work and you are receiving alert, it means you are on leave. It means you are on leave. You know, when you're on leave, you are authorized to go on leave, and you are at home and you keep on receiving alerts. So that is, you are on leave. Now, in the public service rule, there are 18 different types of leave. mentioned in the public service rule. 18 different types of leave mentioned in the public service rule. And I will now take it one after. And for that 18, I have an acronym for it. You have, and the acronyms I have for it is the same PLC. D as in D for dog. Then same, SAM, same, then PLC. So now I will not take it one after the other. Now we have deferred leave. Deferred leave. That's for the D. For the S, we have sick leave. Sick leave. That S is 4S. S, we have sick leave. We have sick leave, study leave with pay, study leave without pay, sabbatical leave. Those are the S. Sick leave, study leave with pay, study leave without pay, and sabbatical leave. So that is the 4S. Then the next one is A. A is annual leave. A is annual leave. A is annual leave. Then M is maternity leave. L is maternity leave. Then E, we have E is examination leave. Examination leave. E is examination leave. Then we have P, we have proportionate leave. Proportionate leave. We have paternity leave. We have paternity leave. Then we have pre-retirement leave. Pre-retirement leave. Then L, so for the first L, we have a leave of absence. We have leave on grounds, on compassionate leave grounds. Leave on compassionate ground. Then we have leave on cultural and sporting activities. Then we have leave on cultural, and we have leave on grounds of private affairs. Then lastly, C, which is the casual leave. So those are the types of leaves we have. So we'll now take it one after the other. The first one is deferred leave. Deferred leave. Deferred leave is that leave granted an officer in exceptional circumstances by the permanent secretaries or head of agency to carry forward to the next leave year because of exigency of duty. It can be part of annual leave, not fully spent. So that is deferred leave. Example of that one is, let's say I'm supposed to go on annual leave, and simultaneously there is a conference that is supposed to be held in Abuja, and I'm supposed to be part of that, to go for that conference leave. We were expecting that conference to come up, but the conference, we have not received invitation for the conference, but we are still expecting it, that any moment from now, that invitation will come. Let's say I've now commenced because I waited and I needed to go and rest. So I needed to go and rest. I needed to commence my leave. I have commenced. So, and maybe after 2 weeks, after the commencement of my annual leave, they now said, the invitation has been sent. So, and that we are going for the conference. So, it is that, which means I'm going to stop. Which means I'm going to stop my leave at that particular point in time, so that I can pursue, I can go for that conference. So, having gone for the conference and written my report after the conference, so I can now pick up my leave. I cannot continue my leave from where I stopped. That is deferred leave. So that is why I said it could be an annual leave, not fully spent. So it could be an annual leave, not fully spent. So number next is sick leave. Sick leave is an absence of an officer from duty on account of ill health. On account of what? Ill health, as authorized by a medical officer. So for sick leave, some certificates, medical certificates goes along with sick leave based on the nature of the sickness of the officer. So it could be sick, it should be excused duty certificate. It could be excused duty certificate. So it could be light duty certificate. So these certificates are issued by, medical officer from hospitals. So you preferably state government agencies or gbogbo àwọn tó wà nù kíní ẹ̀ náà lè fún wa LASHMA, those other hospitals that we do go on that pull under LASHMA, under LASHMA. So those are the certificates, that can be granted to that can be issued to any sick officer. Then the next one is study leave with pay. Study leave with pay. This is the leave granted to a confirmed officer to undertake a course of study. Leave granted to a confirmed officer to undertake a course of study. To undertake a course of study. Are we there? And the idea is that if you are granted, mostly study leave granted on, with pay is usually is usually in a public policy. Usually in the public policy. Or if an officer is granted study leave with pay in full-time program, so meaning that leave, that study leave with pay is granted as a result of public policy. But for an officer who is undergoing part-time program, that officer will be granted study leave with pay, because like part-time program in Unilag that run only Saturday or Sunday, DLI, it does not affect the nature of his work. It does not affect it does not affect him not coming to work Monday to Friday. He only goes to that. He only pursue that program on weekend. So that officer will be granted also with pay. Now, the next one is study leave without pay. That is the leave granted to a confirmed officer to undertake a course of study without pay, meaning that an officer is running a program and is not receiving, salary while the program is on. He's not receiving salary. So, and it could be within and it could be outside the country. So the duration of study leave without pay shall not be more than 4 years. In the instance of, in the first instance, it shall not be more than 4 years. And that officer can equally be given, maybe if he has some carryovers, he can be given 1 year extension during the program. Can be given 1 year extension. So, and the next one is sabbatical leave. Sabbatical leave. Sabbatical leave is also an authorized absence of officer of the level 15 and above. Sabbatical leave is mostly granted for the purpose of research. Those in the academic institution, tertiary institutions, maybe in LASU or LASU Tech or Lagos University of Education. So our level directors, the level 15 and above, can apply for sabbatical leave. You will move from institution to another state he can go to Unipen, he can go to UI on sabbatical. And while this program is ongoing, so and it is for a period of 12 months, usually once in 5 years. So that is 1 year in 5 years. So the officer, if he applied, he will be considered. And then he is also entitled to honorarium. So, and the honorarium will be based on his level, his experience, and his qualification. Honorarium that will be given to those prof will be different from honorarium that will be given to associate prof. The one that will be given to associate prof will be given from doctors. So that is how that one is being done. Then the next one is annual leave. Annual leave. Annual leave. Annual leave is granted to an officer in accordance with grade level. Yes, that one has a lot of grade level. So, and for level 8 and above, it is 30 working days. 30 working days. For level 4 to level 7, it is 21 working days. For level 3 and below, it is just 14 working days. So that is for the annual leave. The next one is adoption leave. Adoption leave. Adoption leave is authorized absence from duty of a service female officers granted by the permanent secretary or head of agency on account of adoption based on date of release of child. So gbogbo akọ ni Ọlọ́run kọ ọmọ fún. So ẹni tí Ọlọ́run kọ ọmọ fún can equally adopt child kó lè rí ayé gbé. So tí ó bá on the release of the baby, that lady will be granted adoption leave to get bonded. The purpose of it is to get bonded with the child. To get bonded with the child. So ọmọ yẹn á wojú ẹ̀, òun náà wojú ẹ̀, á yọ owó ara wọn, á yọ ọmọ yẹn á mọ̀ pé òun ti níyà tó máa tọ́jú òun. So that is adoption leave. And it is being granted for 12 weeks. It is being granted for 12 weeks. So which is 3 months. So the next one is maternity leave. Maternity leave. Maternity leave is authorized absence from duty of a serving female officer granted by the permanent secretary or head of agency on account of pregnancy based on the expected date of delivery. So maternity leave is also granted for, formerly it was for 3 months, but now in the public service rule, in the civil service rule, it is 3 months. Now in the public service rule, it is 6 months or 24 weeks. So it's been granted for the first 2 deliveries. For the first 2 deliveries. So for any subsequent any subsequent babies or deliveries, it will be for 12 weeks, which is 3 months. Now the next one is maternity leave. Maternity leave. Examination leave. Examination leave is an authorized absence from duty for the purpose of taking examination. For the purpose of taking examination. So the duration of examination leave shall be limited to the shortest period to allow the officer reach the appointed place of examination and sit for the examination and return to his duty. So examination leave, what is expected of officer for officer sitting for exam is that officer will apply. He will attach his timetable for the program, for the exam. Exam timetable, you attach it to it. You will attach the approval of the exam leave too. You will attach it to it. I mean, you will approve the approval of that study, at the commencement of the program, that officer is given approval to pursue a program. The approval given to him by Ministry of Staff, you will attach it to it and write it to the PS. So the PS will now approve it for that. It's just for the shorter period for the officer to get to the location of the exam, write the exam, and return as soon as possible. Meaning that if the officer finished the exam on a Wednesday, he can and pack some, some are not schooling here in Lagos State. Some goes as far as Lautech in Ogbomoso. So when the officer is back, let's say he finishes the exam on Tuesday, he is back on Wednesday, so he can resume work on Thursday. So that is, it's just for the exam. And there are some directors too. They don't allow their officers, they will say they will deduct it from their annual leave. It's not done. It's not good. We should allow them because they have approval for that course of study. So let them go for the exam. And totally approval definitely Omash exam now. Please, I'm saying this because we have the directors on this platform. So allow them to go for their exam. Then the next one is paternity leave. Let me talk about proportionate leave. Proportionate leave. So we have entered P. So proportional leave is a leave granted to a new or returning officer in proportion to the number of days he has put into service. So proportional leave is, yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, you have like 35 minutes more.
Okay. No problem.
So, and don't forget to touch the local government regulations.
Yes, yes. I'll any when it is 5 minutes, just let me know. I'll round up.
No,
anywhere
only
we
okay.
There.
All right, sir.
When it is 5 minutes, just let me know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, proportionate leave, or is also called pro rata leave, is being calculated thus. So when you look at the numbers of months spent by the officer over the 12 months we have in a year, multiplied by numbers of that days that officer is entitled for the annual leave. For example, let's say somebody was employed in June and others in the office, they started in January. They are going. So for those that started in January, they are entitled to 30 working days. They will spend their full 30 working days as their annual leave. But those that entered, meaning that officer is only spend 6 months. And tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbà ní June, only 6 months láti spend, so he cannot be entitled to 30 working days. Tí àwọn tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wọn ní January tó máa lo 30 working days, he is not entitled to it. So we now look at, you calculated it this way: numbers of months spent or numbers of months tó fẹ́ lò. So for a retiring officer, á jẹ́ numbers of months spent. Officer tó ń lọ ní tó ń lọ soonest, so numbers of months to spend divided by numbers of months for the year, multiply by numbers of leave to entitled in a year. So that is that. So the next one is a paternity leave. Paternity leave is granted to the serving female officer for a 10 consecutive days. Then the next one is pre-retirement leave. Pre-retirement leave is the leave that officer is entitled to before the final retirement. But as it is now, it's like that pre-retirement leave is no longer functional again in the service, because even our so-called PS will work till the last day in office. So it is like it's no longer practicable again. So, but the next one is leave on compassionate grounds. Leave on compassionate grounds. So ẹni tí ọkọ ẹ̀ kú tó dẹ̀ láti prepare next weekend, tó dẹ̀ kú bí 3 days or 4 days, can write for that leave on compassionate ground. So for that person to prepare for the burial. tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n máa travel ni, depending on the location of the event. Tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n máa travel ni, the PS can give that person 1 week to get prepared and go for the burial and back to work. That is, but some people do not know that we have this kind of leave in the public service group. So that is leave on compassionate grounds. Then the next one is leave of absence. Leave of absence. Leave of absence is on public policy, and there are 5 types of leave of absence. We have leave of absence to join spouse on the course of instruction not less than 9 months. We have leave of absence to join spouse on grounds of health or medical ground. Then, not to be that, leave of absence on grounds of public policy for technical aid program. Not only that, leave of absence to take up non-elective political appointment. And lastly, leave of absence on grounds of public policy for an official whose spouse is a president, governor, and chairman local government. So, example of it is that of Dr. Mrs. Sanwo-Olu. She is presently on leave of absence. When his husband want to go for that governorship campaign or whatever, so she wrote formally to Health Service Commission because she was the medical director, Shomodu General Hospital then that time. So I was at the PMB in HSC when that was, considered. So let us now go to, on that note, okay, no, it's not. So we have leave on grounds of urgent private affairs. So that is an authorized absence from duty on urgent private affair and grounds. That is, officer may have issue only in the family issue. It could happen between the husband and wife. So any officer on that note, you will write for that kind of leave for him to go and settle his private family affairs so that he will be back fully at work to work. Then we have leave for cultural and sporting activities. That is the authorized absence from duty to attend cultural and sporting events, be it Team Lagos, be cultural troop in Lagos State, only see national festivals or international festivals abroad. So that leave, cover. Then we have leave to take part in trade union activities. Leave to take part in trade union activities. So just like those in Geneva, now that's the leave they went for. There was an International Labour Organization conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Presently, our Lagos State contingents are there. So those union activists. And then lastly, under leave, we have the casual leave. That is an authorized absence of an officer from duty for a short period, not exceeding aggregate of 5 working days. So officer that has enjoyed annual leave, and there is no need for him to be absent from duty for 3-4 days, he can seek for casual leave. So just for 5 working days in a year. So on that note, I think I've ended that aspect. Now let us now go to local government regulations. So local government regulations are the rules, guidelines, and procedures that govern the administration, finances, personnel, and operation of local government councils. It is that rule that guides, the guidelines and procedures that govern the administration, how local government are being run, finances, their personnel, and operation. of all the local government councils. And they are designed to ensure accountability, efficiency, transparency, and effective service delivery at the grassroots level. We used to say local government are the, government of grassroots level. They are the closest arms of levels of government to we, the people, the citizen. So in Nigeria today, there are 774 local governments. The total numbers of local governments we have are 774 in Nigeria. And this regulation derive the authority, they derive the authority from the Constitution, state and local government laws, financial regulations, public service rules, and other relevant regulations. That's how they derive their regulations from. And let me also make it known to you that local government is a political subdivision of a country. It's a political subdivision of a country established by law to provide basic services and maintain order at the lower level, and maintain order at at the lower level. That's why I say they belong to the grassroots. Now, what are the objectives of local government regulations? So I have an acronym for that too. We have PRFM. PRFM is the acronym for that. So number one, P, promote accountability and transparency in public service. That's the objective of that regulation, is to promote accountability and transparency in public service. 2, E, ensure effective administration of local government council. We want to ensure effective administration. There will not be any problem with administration of local government. That's why we have the regulations. Because where there is no rule, where there is no regulations, things will be done haphazardly. Things will not be okay. Even with the rules, rule. They have been invited to face PMB here and there. So E, the next one, another E, which is ensure proper management of public funds and resources. To ensure proper management of public funds and resources. Then the R is to regulate conduct of local government officials. Regulate conduct of local government officials. Then the FM there, F, to facilitate grassroots development and service delivery. To facilitate grassroots development and service delivery. And lastly, to maintain discipline and ethical standard among employees. To maintain discipline, like I said, if there is no regulations, if there is no things like that, there will not be discipline. There will not be code of conduct. There will not be professional code of ethics. So without regulation, there will be ethical standard among employees. So next slide. So what are the major areas covered by these government regulations? What are the major areas? Local government regulations cover several key areas that guides the administration and management of a local government council. These areas ensure that councils operate efficiently, transparently, and in accordance with the law. Number one, fundamental area is the administrative regulations. These regulations govern the day-to-day administration of local government. It governs the day-to-day administration of local government. Admin in number one. They covers the structures, and that administrative regulation covers the structures and organization of the council, roles and responsibilities of Mr. Chairman, the Vice Chairman, the Councillor, and staff. It also talks about the procedure for conducting meetings. It also talks about record keeping and correspondence, then delegation of authority and supervision of department. So all these are under the administrative regulations of the local government regulations. And the importance of it is to ensure smooth coordination of council activities and effective service delivery. Is to ensure smooth coordination of council's activities and effective service delivery. Another major area covered by the government regulation, local government regulation, is the personnel regulations or the staff personnel regulations. Now, this regulation deals with the management of human resources within the local government. And in that regulation, personnel regulation, it discusses the recruitment and appointment of staff, how staff will be recruited or get appointed into local government. Not only that, talks about the promotion and advancement procedures. How do you intend to do promotion? How do you intend to advance officer? Staff training and development. Talks about leave administration. Talks about discipline, grievances procedures, retirement, pension, and disengagement. So these are what are inside the regulation. Now, the next one, we have the financial regulation. That's another major area covered by the local government regulation. And the financial regulation, that regulation controls the management of public funds, how funds will be sourced, how funds will be expended, and it covers budget preparation and implementation, revenue generation, bó ṣe máa source owó ẹ máa generate owó àwọn town council, collections, then expenditure controls and authorization, accounting procedures, custody of government funds and assessment, then financial reporting and auditing. And the essence of this is to prevent financial mismanagement so that when they come out, then fraud and waste of public resources. So the next one is legislation. This is another major area covered by the local government regulations, the legislative regulation. This governs the law-making functions of the local government legislative council. It governs the law-making functions of the local government legislative council. Among it, we have the procedure for passing bylaws, conduct of legislative session, debate and approval of council policies, oversight functions of councillors, then approval of budgets and development plans. These are the regulations for the councillors, because the councillors are the lawmakers. So then, importance of this regulation, this legislative regulation, is to ensure that local laws and policies are properly formulated and implemented. Local laws and policies are properly formulated and implemented. The next one, which is procurement and stores regulations. Procurement and stores regulation, still under the major areas covered by the local government regulation. This regulates the acquisition and management of goods, works, and services. Goods, works, and services. And as we all know, procurement and stores regulations covers tendering and bidding processes, award of contracts, inspection of supplies, storage and issuance of materials, disposal of obsolete assets. And the importance of these procurement and stores regulations is to promote transparency, accountability, and value for money in public procedure and procurement. To promote transparency, accountability, and value for money in public procedure, in public procurement. Then the next one is ethical and conduct regulations. That is another major aspect area covered by the local government regulations. These establish standards of behavior for public officials and employees. We have talked about it. That is what this is code of conduct. This is a determination of what is right and wrong. This is ethics in practice. This is a moral science in moral science in practice. So now, and it covers honesty and integrity. It covers avoidance of corruption. It covers conflict of interest, confidentialities of official information. It also talks about respect for public properties. It talks about professional conduct and discipline. As a public servant, what is expected of you as a public servant? Integrity. It talks about integrity. It talks about loyalty. It talks about respect for the rule. It talks about so many things. So I embedded under the ethical and conduct, regulations. The next one is revenue administration regulation. Revenue administration regulation. This regulates the general management of local government revenue. It regulates the general management, management, of generation and management of local government, revenue. Talks about collection of taxes, rate and levies. Talks about issuance of receipts. Is the original receipt are people getting for the payment paid, for the fines paid, for the penalty paid, revenue monitoring and control, prevention of revenue leakages, banking of collected funds. All those money being sourced, are they being banked into the coffers of government? So, and the essence of this revenue administration regulation is to ensure adequate funding for local government projects and services. Then the next one is development planning regulation. Development planning regulation. That has to do, these are the regulations that guide the planning and execution of development projects within the local government. Planning and execution of development projects within the local, government. And it covers community needs assessment, project identification and prioritization, budget for projects, monitoring and evaluation, reporting and project outcome. So, and the essence of these development planning regulations is to ensure that development projects meet the needs of the local population. That is when you now see local government doing, constructing some feeder roads, doing drainages. Wọ́n ṣe only the local contractor, náà ló máa pè, but wọ́n máa ṣe. So then the next one is the next major area covered by the local government regulation is the audit and inspection regulation. Audit and inspection regulations. This regulation ensures accountability in council operation. All the procedures have to be checked, has to be investigated, has to be inspected. And it covers internal and external audit, inspection of accounts and records, verification of assets, investigation of financial irregularities, compliance monitoring. And the importance of these audit and inspection regulation is to detect errors, fraud, and inefficiency while promoting accountability. Is to detect errors, fraud, and inefficiency while promoting accountability. Then, what are the importance of local government regulations? What are the importance? We need to study this local government regulation. Number one, to promote good governance at the grassroots. To promote good governance at the grassroots. 2, to ensure prudent use of public funds. To ensure prudent use of public funds. 3, to improve service delivery to citizens. Káwọn èèyàn náà máa rí pé àwọn local government wá ń ṣe lè wọ́n ń ṣe tọ̀hún. To enhance accountability and transparency. To maintain discipline among public servants and to prevent corruption and maladministration. So, what are the functions of local government under the regulation? Local government are responsible for collection of rates, taxes, and fees. They are responsible for maintenance of local roads and markets. They are responsible for environmental sanitation and waste disposals. They are responsible for registration of births, deaths, and marriages. They are responsible for primary healthcare support. They are responsible for community development projects and maintenance of cemeteries and public conveniences. These are the core functions of local government. These are the core functions of local government. Now, so what are the major problems facing local government? What are the major problems facing local? I just added this. So corruption and mismanagement, lack of financial autonomy. So even though the court has given local government autonomy, but some states are still holding them. Some states have not really opened, giving them the freeway. So then we have poor internally generated revenue. Poor internally generated revenue. Most of their revenue have been hijacked by the states. 5, political interference. Too much political interference. Too much political interference. At times, it's very difficult to discipline any earning officer. You see that person, going to meet political leaders, and then they will not be able to instill,
Oh, sorry. It seems we lost him there due to the network. Let's be patient. Let me reach out to him to check what happened. Please bear with us.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Are essential instruments for ensuring discipline, accountability, efficiency, and professionalism in the public sector. They provide clear guidelines on the conduct, rights.
Sorry, sir. Mr. Olegbe, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Can you just recap from where you start from when you joined the WhatsApp call now? I mistakenly closed the audio. So someone just draw my attention to it. Can you just recap from there? My audio is on now for them to hear you. Sorry, sir.
Okay, no problem. So welcome back. Like we have been interrupted by the network. Now, before the problem or network problem. I was discussing the major problem facing local government, and I mentioned corruption and mismanagement as number one. Number two, lack of financial autonomy. Number three, poor internally generated revenue. 4, political interference. 5, inadequate skilled personnel. 6, weak infrastructure. 7, lack of accountability and transparency. 8, low community participation. 9, frequent policy changes. And we'll also talk about poverty and economic constraints. So, in conclusion, so far, we have talked about public service rule. We have equally talked about local government staff regulations. Now, these public service rules and local government staff regulations are essential instruments for ensuring discipline, accountability, efficiency, and professionalism in the public sector. They provide clear guidelines on the conduct, rights, responsibilities, appointments, promotions, and discipline of public officers and local government employees. By promoting ethical behaviors, transparency, and adherence to established procedures, these regulations help maintain order in government institutions and improve service delivery to the public. Therefore, strict compliance with the public service rule and local government staff regulations is crucial, very important, very, for achieving effective governance, protecting public resources, and fostering sustainable development at all levels of government. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for your rapt attention and for giving me the opportunity to exhibit my skill and expertise on this platform this afternoon. Thank you. I wish you success on your forthcoming PS examination. I wish you the best. Thank you. This is Olaegbe Babashola Akim with you, facilitating. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Can you give us appreciate Mr. Olaegbe with your emojis? Please, there is no time for question and answer because we have another class by 3 p.m. and this is to 3. So I will just send your question to our WhatsApp channel. So we forward it to Mr. Olaegbe, or you can contact Mr. Olaegbe after this call for more information or question and answer. I wish you successful in your upcoming exam too. Thank you. Expecting you in the next class. Thank you. Bye. Mr. Olaegbe, thank you, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So you can share the slide with us. Sir. Yes, sir.
No problem.
Yes, sir.